So, good morning or good night, depending on where you are in the world, and welcome to another interview of the Shield Dude on a Couch. I'm your host, Hector, and today I'm joined by the band Negative Bliss. So, I have the whole band here with me. So, Negative Bliss is a band out of New Jersey, and they play a blend of doom, post metal, and hardcore. And back in November 1st, they released their first EP called Everything Hurts and I'm Dying, which is what every parent says when they're trying to put their toddler to sleep. So I'm here with the whole band. So first of all, how are you guys tonight?
Very
Fantastic.
good. Thank you for
I saw
having us.
I
Yeah,
saw
doing
you put a
great.
heart. Is that a heart emoji on the?
Yeah.
Nice, a heart emoji. So I have the whole band here with me. So that's cute. Yeah, I'm sure all my couchers will love that. So I have the whole band here with me. So first of all, everyone say your name and what you do in the band.
Okay, I'm Steve. I sing and I play guitar.
What's
Nice.
up, in? I'm Paul. I play guitar again, and I sing a little bit, and I cause some mayhem and frustrate these guys a lot. But yeah,
Awesome.
I'm Jonathan H. I play bass and I do a little bit of vocals as well.
And I'm Jonathan as well. I play the drums. I don't do vocals, and that's probably going to stay that way.
Yeah. So awesome. So I know the first one I talked to the band was Steve. Steve, your picture on the Instagram looked more menacing. Like you had like the menacing Instagram, and you're like, listen to my EP. I'm like, okay, I listen to it, Steve. Do not threaten me, please. No, I'm joking. I'm joking. So yeah, I know that you have the witnesses shirt. So you saw my witnesses interview and you contacted me. So it's awesome that I get to, through interviews with band, I get to meet newer bands. The first thing that caught my attention with your band is the name, because negative and then bliss, it's like two contradictory things. But when I was listening to music, there's like some blissful, nice melodies to it, and then the harsh negative things. So tell me a little bit about about the band name, like when you guys were picking that name.
So we started the band. John Meyer, our drummer, one of the two Johns, started the band in an attempt to play music again after many, many, many years not doing so, mostly because of parental responsibilities. So
I
he put
hear you,
out a one. Sorry?
man. I hear you.
Yeah, so you get it. So he put out a want ad online that our three wives saw, and each went over to us and were like, "You need to answer this want ad." Basically saying like, "I'm into heavy music, I'm into metal, I'm into hardcore. I want to find other people who are also musically deprived parents who want to play again." So, the short of it is we got together, we liked playing together. So I think, the name's a little open to interpretation. John Hernandez actually came up with it, but the way I see it is like, metal is generally viewed as like a negative energy kind of music, but we're finding our bliss playing it.
Okay.
yeah, we
Yeah.
probably went through like 200 band names to
Yeah.
till we settle on that. We started out,
You had me
yeah,
at when you said your wife said you should form a band. I'm like, really? Like usually it's the other way around. Like
Well,
they're
I
like
think,
there's
yeah, I mean, when I put out the one ad, I had done this prior to the pandemic, and I got zero responses. And the town that we predominantly live in is a pretty, you know, arts friendly town. And I was surprised I got no responses. And then COVID hit, and obviously the isolation from the pandemic was obviously troubling for a lot of people. And then when the pandemic started to lift and lockdown started to lift, I just put out an ad again, and in the ad, I mentioned a number of bands that I was interested in, but didn't necessarily, they were kind of like middle ground bands. They weren't like death metal bands. They weren't hardcore bands because I really didn't expect people to, like
I
some
don't
of the
think it
music that
was
I listened to.
Coldplay.
Definitely wasn't Coldplay. And I put out, and it was Steve's wife, Paul's wife, and John's wife, who all basically shot me a response saying, here's my husband's number. It was all like pretty much like take him out of the house, get him out of the house. He needs this type of thing. And I think all four of us, to some degree, needed this, and still need it. I had been out of the music game, for 20 years, with professional responsibilities, family responsibilities, and I think it became clearly evident to me the first time we ever practiced together how much I actually missed it and how much I needed it, personally. I mean, my wife could attest to this. I think I came home after the first practice, and I don't even know if I told these guys. I cried. I was extremely, taken by just the feeling of being back in the room with four people, but four also, three other people who, like the same music I like, generally speaking, but are also just good humans. And I think when it came to the band name, I mean, I feel like I had the least opinion on it. Like we could have named it a lot of different things, and I would have been content with whatever, just if we continued playing. But I definitely think the band name is kind of a reflection of what, life can be, but also what the music does provide us. I would agree with Steve, with to a large extent.
Yeah. That makes sense. For me, I did the channel because I have no musical ability. So what do people without musical ability do? We critique. I have a running joke with my girlfriend, where she says that I'm a musical snob. And it's funny that you put Coldplay because I did an episode of my series for Is It That Bad? And the latest Coldplay was on that one. And my girlfriend said the other day to me, I love that album. I'm like, why did I'm like, well, it's not the worst. I told her, don't worry, honey, it's not going to be. You do love some Coldplay. It's not going to be in my top 10 worst albums of the year. It's not that bad. Yeah, I like I actually do like, I have their first albums, I have them and I like them, but yeah.
I have Coldplay lyrics tattooed on me, so take
Uh,
it easy on the Coldplay.
take it, it was but have you listened to the new album?
Let's not talk about the new Coldplay, please.
Okay, there is no
The
new
older stuff was
Coldplay.
better.
That's what I said to my girlfriend, and she said that I'm a music snob. She said no, it's good. I'm like, it's not as good as the first albums. And I'm wondering which lyrics do you have tattooed on yourself?
My wife and I got lyrics to Sparks on us. I have she has and I saw Sparks, and I have yeah, I saw Sparks.
Yeah, nice.
I'm wearing a hoodie, so it's a little hard to show right now, but
Ah,
there.
yeah. Yeah, I was wondering like which lyrics, but yeah, so forget about Coldplay. Let's go to you guys. So basically after you all your wife said like get out of the house, go jam with some people and leave us alone, after being so much time on lockdown, and you find so that's a cool story. You find some like-minded people. So you guys didn't know each other before this, right?
Nope.
Yeah, it's cool. For me, I've met through the channel. I collaborate with other YouTubers from different parts of the world, and they become like my friends. Like I chat with them all the time. Like people, I have a friend Australia, Canada, so it's pretty cool. But we never been in a room together, but we like to talk about music, so it's a good way, but neither of us play. Well, actually, some of them do play, but I don't play anything. But yeah, I still have the
Well,
channel because I love music.
well, I was gonna
And
say, I
yeah,
was gonna say that, you know, the fact that we didn't know each other, it's when you put couple, a bunch of people in the same room to see if they have the same musical tastes, can they play music together? Is there a creative spark? But I think one thing that we've, all come to realize also is that we're good friends. The chances of all of that happening are pretty remote. And I think that we're all kind of like in a similar situation in life. We all have young kids. Paul just had his first child a couple of months ago. So we were all kind of in the same boat, and I think we identify with each other in a lot of respects. And I think the pieces fit pretty quickly.
And we
Yeah.
we all kind of had bumped into each other unknowingly before we all got together too. John, Steve, and I live in the same town, and we would reminisce about the times that we bumped into each other before we knew each other,
Yep.
which was kind of funny as well.
John Hernandez's wife came to my house to take a bunch of cardboard boxes when they were moving.
Oh,
Right.
so
And yeah, and Meyer and our kids went to school together, and I distinctly remember seeing him with the Rage Against the Machine hat and commenting on the hat
ah,
uh,
didn't
after
you
that.
tell him to name 3 songs?
I figured if he was wearing the hat, he must have gone through a lot to get it. So
It was a $70 hat at one of their reunion shows, so
Yeah.
I definitely had to be a fan. I remember actually seeing Steve. I'm pretty sure it was probably right after our first children were born, close to 7 or 8 years ago. I saw Steve and his wife at a farmer's market, and he was wearing an Ulver t-shirt. Um, Ulver was a band that I knew,
Oh yeah.
but
I've heard the band. Yeah, they're not a very well-known band. So yeah,
no,
like
right.
yeah.
So to see somebody with an Ulver shirt, I'm like, that guy probably has good taste in music. And then I never approached him. I thought about it. I was like, I kind of wanted to be like, I like your shirt. And then 8 years later, or 6 years later, his wife answers the ad. It's pretty fortuitous that we kind of sort of bumped into each other along the
Pretty
way.
amazing.
Yeah.
I think we lost Paul. His internet's been struggling. Hopefully he comes back. Oh, here he is again. That's okay. Sometimes the internet is not your friend. So yeah, so a question for you guys. Uh, do your kids like that you play music, or do they think that it's cringe?
My kids love it. I think my son is one of our biggest listeners on Spotify. Like he'll
Uh,
steal our little smart speaker and take it upstairs to his bedroom, and I'll hear him just shouting like, "Hey Google, play Negative Bliss." So that's nice.
that's nice. Yeah.
Yeah, I would
It's
say, go ahead. I'm sorry.
no, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, my son um, definitely thinks it's the coolest thing to be in a band. I think he wants to be in a band. He's, a burgeoning drummer himself, and to him, there's nothing cooler than just playing music. He's obsessed with music at this point. It's not necessarily obsessed with Negative Bliss, but he's obsessed with music.
As a
He could
He
whole.
was
sing on one of our songs.
he does sing on one of your songs, but as soon as he saw his name in like the credits, he was good. He was done. He's moved on. He was just like, finished. So
Yeah, he sings
yeah,
in the Lighthouse song. And you know what's funny, Jonathan, when I saw you, I used to live in Miami and I used to go to a gym where I hit classes, and you look like just one of the instructors. So when I
this
saw you, I
guy or
thought
that guy?
you no you
Oh,
and I thought I'm like now I have to hit the floor and do some burpees. So no, it's cool that your kids like it. So your song does some shouting in the song "The Lighthouse," correct?
Yes, he does.
So tell
So
me the story of how that happened.
was it your suggestion, John? I
no,
can't.
it was definitely not my suggestion. I think I can't remember, because as John H said before, Steve and my kids as well as John H's kids all live in the same town. For some reason, my son had off, or we had a half day. I'm a teacher, so I live in this town as well. And Steve sort of was like, "Why don't you bring him over, do like a guest vocal spot on the Lighthouse?" And I proposed it to my son, and he was game from the get go. I mean, he's like a metalhead, so he was like, "Yeah, whatever it takes." And brought him over, and Steve, I guess, had it in mind. Yeah, I mean, you did you have the spot picked out in the song?
I think we did because he does backing vocals
Right.
over the second verse. So the second verse is like this very kind of dreamy, clean melodic
Yeah.
vocal in the lead vocal, and then there's these little bursts where these growls come in. And originally it was just John Hernandez and Paul doing the growls as the backing vocals, but to be like we take the music seriously, but it was fun as a also just as a personal thing to have Julian do the vocals, but he's actually a very good vocalist for an 8 year old.
Yeah.
Like
Did
I'm
you
not
pay him?
no, we didn't pay him.
No,
That's
but
that's
his
child
ego
labor
is, yeah,
abuse.
I know. But trust
he's
me, his
he's
ego
he's
is
going to
now
sue you like the
huge.
Nirvana baby
In 10 years probably for royalties.
for royalties. Yes.
But yeah, he was genuinely very good. I think that might have been how it came from it because our kids hang out a lot just as friends, and because he's such a fan of metal, he'll be doing like the metal voice just like randomly. And I think at some point, I can't quite remember anymore, but I think I said to John, like, he should do this on a song. Like, why not? And he was great. For an 8 year old who's never been in a recording situation, like, he nailed the whole experience. He understood how to sing with headphones on, how to keep time with a click track. Like, I think the whole thing took like 40 minutes.
Wow.
It was amazing.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
I
it was
would never know
bonkers.
if I saw the until I saw the video of him doing the
Right.
part.
Oh, right.
Right. I mean, I played it for so I let my own father, who's 78 years old, listen to the song, and I said, "Can you pick out your grandson's vocals?" And he couldn't. But then I showed him the video, and he was like, "Oh, okay, I see where he is." But I guess as you get older, your ability to hear higher pitches is also kind of diminished. So Julian's voice is actually really like high pitched as a scream, and my father couldn't necessarily even hear that part. But when I showed him the video, it obviously all made sense. But I think for Julian, my son, it was a pretty cool experience. The fact that he could see his name is contributing to a song, get an early start in the music business.
Yep.
Yeah. I think that's pretty cool. That I would be stoked if I was in a song. Uh, so so the lighthouse with the themes, I think that was a great like EP starter. I really like that one. Tell me a little bit about the theme and lyrics for that one.
So that one is the only one that's like a fictional story one. I wrote the lyrics quite a long time ago, like before I met these guys. So when
Mhm.
we first started, we initially just did covers, like just to see how we played well together and if we could get
I think
along.
every band does that.
It was fun, a cool way to get a sense of each of our respective tastes because we each picked a song and like we really saw pretty clearly like the different kinds of heavy music we each like based on the covers we picked. But then once we really felt like we had done the covers enough, we started, throwing ideas around for songs. The first song we wrote, John Hernandez brought in. It's the song Sunstain, which is the last song on the EP. And then after that, we started on The Good Life, which was a song that I had written before I met them that they made like a million times better than what it used to be. And then from that point, I brought in The Lighthouse, which was another old song that, if you listen to the old demo, it's like terrible compared to what it is now.
Uh, I'm sure it's better than the. I used to write some songs myself. I'm sure they're better. Yours are better. I'll give you some of my song title names in a bit.
I can't wait. But yeah, so the lyrics are just a fictional story about a woman whose lover goes off to sea, and the last thing he says to her is, "Wait for me." And she proceeds to wait, and he never comes back. And the story ends, with this very sad, somber, just clean guitar and sung vocals talking about how she died on this cliffside while waiting by the side of the ocean. Um, But it starts off the theme of the whole EP because the whole theme that we wound up going with was like coping with various things. So, that one in particular was about coping with grief and like in that particular respect, her inability to cope and just, giving up her life to waiting for him.
Yeah. That you could sell that could be a picture. Nicole Kidman who's starring that one.
It's good casting.
It's well, there's a movie called The Lighthouse, but it stars William Dafoe and
Yes.
Robert Pattinson. I never seen it, but I know there's a movie called The Lighthouse.
Yeah, I
But
remember
this
when it
could
came out.
be the romantic lighthouse. And
Yep.
she's like, you left me here, Tom Cruise. You- Yes, no, it's a joke. So yeah, so you wrote those songs, and then the guys came and you wrote the other ones. I have a question because I'm interested. Which cover songs did you pick to play? Everyone can say which cover song did they brought to the practice, so I can know what you guys like.
Okay. The first one was Meyer, right? The Dillinger song. Was that you?
Yeah, so I'm actually wearing a Dillinger Escape Plan sweatshirt. I guess it was maybe the song "One of Us Is a Killer."
Yes.
From their last
It,
album, yeah.
yeah, it was from their it was either their last or their second to last album. I wanted to pick a song that I could play because Dillinger's music is absolutely insane, and like the drummers are generally speaking godly. So I picked a song that I could sort of play. Um, but I wanted to play a song from a band that I also really loved. So I think that was one that I suggested.
Hmm.
I think I brought in the Zayo, the song
Yep.
Crotone by Zayo. I actually intended to bring to use another song, one from their older albums, but Crotone, I don't know, I guess just fit better with what we were trying to do. So and if it actually is probably the most like the music that we play now, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, and I brought He Is Legend's song. It was it The Seduction? Is that the one I'm
Yeah.
thinking of? I played The Seduction for a while by He Is Legend. And we also played I'm not sure if this was my suggestion, a Weezer song, Say It Ain't
Oh,
So.
Oh, I
For a
thought you were
while.
gonna say it, you did the Toto version of Africa.
No, we did Say It Ain't So by Weezer, like not even like heavy, just like
Yeah, just
the
straight.
tradition. Yeah, that was
I
fun.
like Weezer.
It's
Yeah.
a great song. I think that one
Yeah.
was like our collective choice. We all realized we liked Weezer and we were like, oh, we don't have to only play metal and hardcore. Let's just play a Weezer song.
well, honestly, if the band didn't work out, I suggested to the guys that we become like Northern New Jersey's preeminent Weezer Blue Album band and just play that album front to back, and
Just do weddings.
we'd probably make more money doing that than anything we're going to do in an original band. But
Yeah.
Yeah, if you think about it, Weezer right now is more of a cover band. They play so many covers, like what happened to the old shit? So yeah. So
no.
which one did you bring, Steve?
I
Steven?
picked Crossroads by Hal Spirit Noir.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say Crossroads by Bone Thugs and Harmony.
No.
Oh, I wish.
I'm like, see you at the crossroads so you won't be lonely. I listen to some 90s hip hop too.
You can sing. That was good.
Yeah, I had a band with a friends of mine a few years ago. We were called KYDJ, and we it's like skip your day job. But then someone told us that's also like a lubricant, and I'm like,
Yeah.
oh my god. And you're like, yeah, it goes both ways. I have a few original songs that I wrote. I wrote a few ones when I was younger. My girlfriend told me that they're terrible and they're never to see the light of day. So I wrote a song called, when I was like in high school, called Executioner. And it's like, oh, Executioner cut my head off. I'm like, what the fuck was I talking about? And then a year ago, I interviewed a band from New York called Electrocutioner. And I'm like, dude, you stole my song. So that was a bad one. And the other one that I'm very proud of is a song that I wrote when I went to Amsterdam, and it's called Cocaine After Brunch.
Mm.
So it's a ripoff of System of a Down. So basically, I was in Amsterdam, and this was in 2005. I was with my best friend, and it's like 8 a.m. and I'm at the front of my hostel, and this guy comes to me and he's like, dude, do you want some Charlie, some cocaine? And I'm like, it's 8 a.m. And he kept bugging me like, when do you want it? When do you want it? So I finally said to him, let me have some brunch and let me have some food. And he's like, oh, okay. And then he left. So years later, I'm like, I have this song and it's called Cocaine After Brunch. And it's a true story.
That's pretty great.
Yes, yes.
You gotta sell those to Coldplay.
Yes, I'm sure Coldplay would like to say that song. Uh, so yeah, so like what was the writing process for you guys for this? Because you had some songs that you came together to jam and did you work on stuff together?
Yeah, for the most part, like each song someone would bring into the room in like a roughly formed shape, and then we would all just kind of like cycle through it in repetition. And then parts that were kind of not so great in that initial shape, we would just kind of talk through. And the one thing in particular, I feel like almost every song I bring into the room, I'm terrible at coming up with an ending for. And like the ending for The Lighthouse, I think I initially just had like a fade out because I like didn't know what to do with it. And then the ending for The Good Life was also just like incredibly boring. And Paul came up with this fantastic chord change sequence and then just completely reshaped the song. Um, like when we finished the EP, I went back and listened to like all of our early demos, and it was night and day. Like it was just living physical proof of why the band is a band versus just like one person writing a song. Because every little detail of every single song is like a result of the four of us working together.
I
That's a
mean, I
good
think
so
Hernandez, didn't you have like Sunstain? I mean, that was pretty early on. You had like some of those major riffs, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I brought these like just like chunky riffs to show the guys. I was like, oh, is there something that we could work on? And the guys just completely took it and made it what it is now. I honestly, like, what I brought was just literally just a riff, and the guys just made it
yeah.
into something special.
That
But
And
one's
the
I
that
think
has
lyrics.
got like that hardcore riff.
Hmm.
right, yeah. So like I guess I have probably one of the more like hardcore backgrounds in the band. You know, like I grew up with you know a lot of like early 2000s hardcore, you know, Boston hardcore, metalcore, stuff like that. But you know, I was obviously as you get older, you get into you know different things, and that was a result of like a lot of different influences. But yeah, I mean, we just that's what I love about these guys. I honestly just bring in like one little like even just like a lick or a riff, and they just take it into something that's just completely beautiful. You know, like with the good life and everything. We feed off each other. I think we feed off each other very well, and
Yeah,
complement each other very well as
that's a
well.
good thing.
And
So
also
Yeah,
like
Paul,
we troubleshoot each other really well. Like it's a
yeah,
nice feeling when one of us like starts with the basic idea of a song, knowing that we can come to the other three and be like, I'm stuck here. How do we make this part good? How do we get out of this part? How do we, add some color to this thing or change the rhythm here to improve it? It's a great feeling.
yeah, I was gonna ask Paul, what was the change that he brought to that song?
Uh, was it for Sunstay we're talking about?
No, The Good Life. Do you
The
Oh, The
Good
remember?
Good
Life.
Life. Yeah. So I think we got towards the end and we were doing like the chorus again. So we had done the chorus a couple times and we're getting towards the end and ready for another chorus. And I think I suggested changing the key slightly and basically like cutting out the drums and bass so it was just guitars for like a couple measures. There's like we're doing like a little bit of a solo. Steve playing a solo, and we're kind of building with some clean guitars for a while,
Hmm.
and then it kind of just like everything kind of cuts out, and it's just guitars for a couple measures. I think that's kind of the part we're talking about, probably.
Yeah,
And
I
that
mean,
to me felt really sorry.
the when I first brought that song in, when we got to the bridge section, which is this really beautiful, like post-rock, uplifting building part, I initially brought it in, and it was literally just like a really straightforward drum beat and two chords back and forth with distortion. And I was like, this is terrible.
Yeah, so I took those two chords and I started playing those two chords, but I was playing them as like a minor nine, or no, I'm sorry, a major seven and then a minor nine, kind of alternating between the two, and then
Yes,
adding some like higher notes as I
it
went
was
along,
it was magical.
and just
That,
make
that
it
was
more,
when I
make it
learned the
jazzier.
term. That was when I learned the term Midwestern emo, was from that moment.
Yeah,
Midwestern emo.
Yep.
so I've got a habit of just trying to make everything as jazzy as possible. So we did that a little bit, and then I had this idea for like a Deftones meets what's that band? With the album Sunbather that I'm thinking of.
Oh,
Deaf
Oh,
Heaven?
Deaf Heaven.
Def
yeah.
Heaven, yeah. Just
Yeah.
kind of like somehow that kind of like Deftones meets Def Heaven kind of a sound came to mind, and so that's kind of where the ending chorus went. And that was kind of
Magical.
a yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah, that's cool. So the title of the EP, like how did you came up with that title? Because it's a great title.
Thank you.
It's uplifting. Everything hurts and I'm dying. That's every 40-year-olds when they go like, ow.
I think I threw that out when we were done with all the music, and we just realized, like, okay, this is it. Like, we have to have a title. Like, we need to come up with something, and we have a group chat that we're always messaging in. So we're just like constantly throwing titles at each other. And I said that, and I just assumed no one was going to go for it. But everyone, all three of you were like, yeah, that's great. That's perfect. And I think it's just like a really good reflection of us, because it's it's easily taken with serious connotations, but also funny, which is very much, I think, our four personalities. And I feel like it's like one reviewer in particular, his name is Kirk, from the website Noob Heavy. He wrote this beautiful prose introduction to the review of the EP, where he talked about like all the possible connotations the title can have, like the larger socio-political connotations of living in America in the current like political climate, the connotations of being a parent in your 30s and 40s, um, just the larger existential feeling of being alive. It was great. And then at the same time, it's like a quote from a character from Parks and Rec, the sitcom.
Yeah, it was like it's so deep, it's so existential. And I'm like, oh,
Right.
it sounds like something like every like but yeah, it's a good title.
It works on so many levels.
It's
Yeah,
about
and
joint pain. Yeah.
then I'm thinking I'm going to get these four depressive emo dudes on the call, like we're all depressive. I'm like, life is meaningless, and all of you like look like well developed, happy. You see, Paul is getting into character.
Not perfect.
I'm like, these are emo hot topic kids, and they're like my parents didn't take me to the mall, and now I'm mad. And now I have debt. But yeah, no,
Well,
it's a cool album title, EP title.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
yeah. So I want to show the artwork, so we can talk about the artwork a little bit. And let's show the artwork here for the EP. So here we have when the computer. Here it's Negative Bliss. Tell me a little bit about the artwork and what you guys were going for.
I
Paul.
guess I can speak to this. I did the graphic design and art direction for this, and kind of basically started by just getting a bunch of stock photos, kind of that had a similar type of vibe and feeling. Um, that to me kind of spoke to the title "Everything Hurts and I'm Dying," as well as like the emotional feeling of each of the four songs. So I kind of started with like just a bunch of photos, kind of made myself a little mood board, um, and then went from there and kind of just mocked up a few different ideas. One of them was like a silhouette photo of like a parent with a baby, like holding them up in the air like this, like they're having a good time. But the title is like Everything Hurts and I'm Dying. And that was kind of like a little bit more goofy and dark at the same time. But
No babies on covers. You'll get sued.
yeah, yeah. So we went through a couple silly ideas like that, and I don't know, kind of came around to this photo, and then everyone was like, "All right, okay, hold on, like you don't have to keep doing more ideas. Let's stick with this. Let's kind of see where this goes." And so I kind of played around with the lighting and played around with the feel, and to me, I guess this image really, uh, to me, resonated with the song "Sunless Forever." Kind of feeling like "Sunless Forever." I mean, Steve can speak to this. He wrote that song, but it kind of speaks to someone kind of sinking down, kind of into a pit of despair and suicide ultimately. So it's like kind of hands kind of reaching up for help, kind of lost and really in need of a friend, kind of a thing. So that's kind of what came to mind for me as I was putting this together.
Yeah, and it looks like she's under or like under. It looks like the person is underwater.
Exactly, yeah, and I think that's the lighting. It's like it's not
Yeah.
underwater, but it really has that feel to it. And so like with Sunless Forever, we kind of had joked about an alternate song title for that as being Black Submarine, like a spoof on Yellow Submarine, but like Black Submarine being like something that's like submerged, way down, kind of deep in the depths of
Mhm.
the ocean, just kind of in a pit of despair. And then with the lighthouse also being about, losing a loved one at sea. Just kind of those different thoughts kind of seem like it all played into this image.
Mhm.
Yeah. And I wonder, do you say, is there a part, because I'm not sure if I heard it, is there any song that mentions the title, like Everything Hurts and I'm Dying on on the EP?
Hmm. No, there's not.
Yeah,
Gosh,
there should have been.
darn it.
We should have
That
done
that
that.
should have been the fifth song.
Yeah.
We'll do it on the album.
Yeah, you do it, but you that could be like a punk song.
It
Uh
could.
like a 3 minute punk song. Everything hurts and I'm dying. I'm giving you unsolicited ideas.
You'll get writing credit if we go with that.
Hey, maybe I can record that part, like, and I can be like, finally, I'm on an album. But yeah, it's a cool album cover, and you can get the gist of the music when you look at that album cover. So I know you guys, you're a fairly, yeah, Paul, we should do that. Paul, you're allowed to talk. like
I'm on Zoom every day for work, so I'm in the habit of like, lots of people are talking and I just kind of
Yes,
like
but
chat in the background.
this is not a work meeting. I'm not
Yeah,
gonna
no, I
be like,
know.
Paul, give me those numbers on the TPS report.
Good reference.
Yes. Like we are putting like a new sheet on the TPS reports from now on, Paul.
You got it.
Yes. No, no, don't make me. I work a corporate job too. No, no, don't make me think I'm at work. So yeah, coming back to it, I lost my train of thought
Well,
because of.
so with the artwork, Paul handled all the art, all the visuals. He designed our logo. He's really like our graphic master. Like we're very lucky in that respect to have him on board for that reason, amongst many others. Um, and we went through so many different ideas for the artwork, and he put up with so much of our feedback. Like, I feel like I just need to say thank you to the world to Paul.
Yeah, it
Thank
was
you
fun
to
because
Paul.
I used to do graphic design a lot for several years. Now I'm kind of more in software engineering, but as a graphic designer, I used to kind of work on projects for clients for days or weeks or months, and then you show it to the client. Here's the finished product, and then they're like, "All right, no, this sucks. Make the logo bigger, do this and that," and you go back and do another round of revisions. But this was so easy with these guys. I would just take a screenshot of what I was working on, send it to them. They would give me feedback, and I would just make some more changes, take a screenshot, send it to them, just kind of keep iterating really quickly, and it was like a lot
Yeah,
easier than
it would have
yeah.
sucked, Paul, if you went with the cover and then they would have said like it needs some cowbell.
Yeah, that's the kind of
on,
feedback you get doing graphic design.
on on the cover. I think we're dating ourselves with our references. people, younger kids will be like, "What the fuck are they talking about?" But we all know. So I know my train of thought now. I was gonna ask you, you guys are a newer band. You have a new EP now. So being a newer band, I know it's not easy to like do shows and stuff, but have you guys done like live shows? Or is it still like a studio project? Like what are the plans that you want to do with Negative Bliss? And being a father myself and everyone being father, it's not like you can go and tour for a long time.
Right. I think we all would like to perform live eventually. I mean, we really didn't form that long ago. It feels like this has been such a big part of our lives that it feels like it's been longer. But um, it's only been how long? Like a year and a half? Two
Mm.
2 years?
Two
Okay.
years.
So, we've been so kind of intent on getting to know each other, getting a rhythm and chemistry with each other, and then writing this music, and then finishing these recordings and getting them released. That I feel like, now that all that's done and we're established in that sense, we could actually start like thinking about that more seriously. Um,
I'll say that I've probably I don't I don't want to take credit, but I've probably put up the most obstacles to playing live. Um, and in part, that's because I think most, if not all of us, that had at one point in time played in more active bands, played live. And I was in a fledgling band, 20 plus years ago, and playing live for two people, like at this stage in my life doesn't sound that appealing. And so if we do play live, which I do think we will at some point, I don't expect this going to be a full house of thousands of people. I'm not ridiculous, but I do believe that, like, I want the situation. I want it to be like right. I want it to be
Yeah.
a good place. I want it to be something where we're not like paying to play. I remember having to do that years ago, where you'd have to pay the venue to be able to play their venue and sell tickets for the venue and
Yeah.
all that nonsense. I don't want any part of that. I don't have time for
Yeah.
that. So,
Yeah.
but I still distinctly remember, as I'm sure these guys do, there are very few feelings that are as unbelievable as playing live for an audience that responds to your music. That I've never forgotten. And so I'd certainly like to experience that sometime again. And so, definitely thinking about it for sure.
I had a dream that my band would play only one show and it would be terrible. And at the end, we were like, okay, that's it. The one and only show. And I would
Or
finish with my cocaine after brunch song.
got to
And
go
I
out
would
on a
play,
high note.
I could play that twice as an encore. Nobody asked for it, but we're playing it again. We're playing and that would be it for me. But no, but I get the feeling like I want people to watch my videos, sometimes I do some great interviews and they get views, but then I do a short about someone farted at a Sleep Token concert and it gets thousands of views. I'm like, God damn it.
That's all it
uh,
takes. People are
uh,
simple.
a
I mean,
video that I had to put no thought into. I just did that for 1 minute, and I'm like, seriously, no thinking. But yeah, it's stuff that happens. So are you guys already working on newer material?
yeah, we
Yeah.
we um we have, I think, like an hour's worth of music, kind of in early stages. Um, we being parents and we all work full time, we don't have like the fastest pace when it comes to writing, but
I
um
could be the fifth member in your band. I could do the dancing. If it was I'll do the dancing part, or give me a maraca, and
we'll put you on a big screen.
and I'll be like dancing like that, like on the sky, or maybe like remember the Prodigy also they had like a guy that
yeah.
danced. So Yeah,
Yes,
technically
the hype man.
the hype man.
There you
Yes.
go.
Right.
Yeah, so we
I
probably
do
have
think
like
that
what?
I do think that we're gonna. Sorry, go ahead, Paul.
I was gonna say we probably have what, like 8, 9, 10 songs like that are kind of either fully written or halfway written or three-quarters written. A
Yeah.
good number there, and then a few more covers we're working on too.
Yeah, our next goal is like a bit of a palate cleanser to do some covers. Um,
Can you tell me which covers you're thinking of? A hint?
do we want to reveal it?
Yeah, why
At
not?
least one. You could reveal one.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, it's most we're going to shoot for a Valentine's Day release, and so I mean that's a hint. And they also just released a new album for like the first time in 16 years, and it's getting rave reviews.
The Cure.
Yeah, it's very good. Yes, you do it. So we're gonna
That was
we're gonna
fun.
we're gonna try to record love song, but in sort of our style, whatever
Yes.
the Negative Bliss
So
style.
no free 11 style.
No, no.
Yeah, because it's been covered. Free 11 covered it. I think Adele has a cover as
Yep.
well. But
A lot of
yeah,
bands, yeah.
yeah.
Wait, Adele covered it?
Yeah.
Adele covered it.
Is it really good?
It doesn't sound like Negative Bliss.
It's true.
Yeah.
I would
It's.
imagine it does.
I actually like the free 11 cover better.
Oh, interesting.
See,
Yeah, me too.
Paul, you're allowed to speak, my man.
Yeah, the 311 cover is great.
Yeah, I like the free 11 version too. So
I feel like
yeah,
our cover is
you
a
know,
little bit more. I'm sorry, go ahead.
yeah, maybe you could do a Boys Don't Cry too. That would be an interesting one.
We are
Yeah.
actually, I mean, like each of the songs that we're talking about are, I mean, well, I think like three of them that we're talking are pretty well known, like love songs. But we kind of want to put our own spin on them. Don't make them just sort of stock covers.
Yeah.
Oh, of course.
And so certainly would like to have the sound that we've already started to establish. I mean, like the reality is that if we take a look at the 4 songs we've released and also some of the stuff that I think that we're working on, one of the terms that's constantly been sort of thrown about by us, and I like to credit like John H with this. It's sort of like this very cathartic element to our music where there's usually a moment of like some type of release in sort of like a heavy, I don't know, doomy type of way. And I think if we could put our own spin on each one of those songs, I think it'd be fun to do. And, like
Yeah.
Steve said, a palette cleanser that, sets the stage for whatever comes after that.
I've been pushing my love of post rock to these guys a lot, and I feel like a lot of those elements creep their way into our music, and I feel like out of a lot of the heavier music genres, I feel like post rock and post metal definitely aims for that catharsis, and I feel like when it seeps into our music, amongst all the other elements that the guys bring to the table, I feel like it really brings it out.
Nice. I would, if I was in a band, I would cover "Love Is on the Way" by Saigon Kick. Do you remember that one from the 90s? "Love Is on the
I'm
Way."
not familiar. I know
Oh,
Saigon Kick for sure.
You have
I
to
don't know
sing
the
it
yeah,
to
song
us.
itself.
like
Yeah, can you
love
sing it?
is on the way. I can see it in your eyes. Let's give it one more chance tonight.
Oh my
That,
gosh.
Definitely, yes, I have heard it.
I
yeah,
love
Nothing to
it.
make you feel alone. I have heard that, yes.
yes, we're dating ourselves, but or you could do like a version of "All I Wanna Do Is Make Love to You" by Heart,
Oof. You're
which is
dropping some hammers here.
it's a very weird love song because it's about having someone else's baby, and then you find the person that you did the baby, and your significant other doesn't know. Like I'm telling you, that's why we have so many issues. The songs that we listened to when we were growing up.
Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So I know it's almost the end of the year, so like I like to ask every since it's almost the end of the year. I'll have my top albums of the year stuff at the end of the year, but like each like everyone can pick like what's like an album that you really been listening to this year.
Meyer, what about you? You're the
I
toughest one to pick.
oh, this is a running almost joke. I've had so many of my like favorite bands release albums this year, and I found myself not liking anything. So I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's where I am in life or just everything that's like pulling at me. Um, but the one album that has stood out to me, and I've told these guys, it actually came out in the early part of the year. So the fact that it stood this long is pretty amazing. It's a band called Counting Hours. And they play, I don't know if they're Finnish or from Sweden. They're
I
Finnish.
actually haven't listened to that one.
They're like very melodic doom, very in the vein of old uh, Paradise Lost, Catatonia, like old Peaceville melodic doom. And it's a style of music that I haven't listened to in a long time. But that album has stood out. And then the other album I'll just say is an album that I've been listening to a lot recently, which I told the guys when it came out, I was like, I gave it one listen and I was like, I'm done with this. It didn't register. And then I started listening to it more and more and more, and it's actually really kind of seeped into me. And it's a hardcore band from, it might be Massachusetts, called My Fictions. And their album that just came out, God, I can't remember the name of it. I think it's Touch of Touch of Glass. I've just been playing that kind of nonstop. It's kind of like a cathartic hardcore, album that is kind
I
of
gotta
dirty and
listen to it.
grimy.
I haven't listened to that one either.
Yeah. So those two are probably mine.
Nice. Uh, what about you, Steven?
I think my most frequent listen is probably Borknagar's new album that came out in February, Fall.
I listened to that like once or twice and didn't grab me.
Oh
Yeah,
no.
yeah.
And then there's a new band that the lead guy from Datumsgard just
Mhm.
started with a very frustrating name because his main band is Datumsgard and then his new band is Dodesmagird, I think is how you say it. The same letters rearranged.
Gerd McGurd.
Oh,
But he just released a new album on Peaceville with this new project called Omniverse Consciousness, I think, on October 11th, and it's just like exactly what I like. It's just really bizarre black metal. Um, and
nice.
then Witness's new album is one of my favorites of the year.
Yeah. Joy.
Love that album. Um, yeah, I mean, I could go on and on.
Yeah.
Most of my time on social media, I spend just like blathering on about bands I like. Um,
Yeah, that's a good thing.
I
Uh,
tend to be a bit of a hype man myself.
okay. What about you, Paul? And you can talk to me.
Yeah, so I've been into so there's this guitarist Alex Hutchings. He was like a kind of like a jazz blues guitarist, and I want to say it was like 10 or 15 years ago that I was really into his music. And then this year he put out an EP called Jellyfish with Phil Dyer. So it's Alex Hutchings and Phil Dyer. The EP is called Jellyfish, and it's like it's his classic guitar shredding like style, but like heavy. It's really cool. So that I've been listening to a lot, and then also the new album by The Crown called Crown of Thorns just came out. They're
Yeah.
classic death metal band,
I
phenomenal
interviewed
band.
that band.
Oh yeah, love The Crown. They're so good.
I
And
got the guitar player. Yeah, talking about
so
the
yeah,
yeah.
just put the links there in the chat. So that's the two
Ah,
albums I've been listening to recently.
I feel like I'm at work, but we don't talk about music at work. So what about you, Jonathan? The other Jonathan H.
Well, I mean, Witnesses has probably gotten like the most rotation for me. Joy is just a joy to listen to. I love that album so much. Um, but besides that, beginning of the year, Hauntologist came out, which is two members of Magua, which was a great album. Recently, I'm probably mispronouncing the band's name, Shamish.
Mm,
Shamish. They
Gamache.
yeah, they released an album fairly recently, a couple of weeks ago, called The Malador Chants. I great stuff. And then Ashen Heart. I love the album they came out with this year. Super like old school black metal, and I'm here for it. I love it so much.
No
Now I'm in
love
that band
for
now.
Oh yeah, I know. And by the way, Steve is in that band now.
yeah, nice. No love for Coldplay New Moon.
I haven't given it enough.
Oh, I don't even think it's called New Moon. I just fucked up the name of the record.
Oh, I honestly I didn't until you guys started talking about it, I didn't even know they had a new record.
Now you
Well,
know.
what about you, Hector? What are your picks for the year?
I can't disclose that.
Oh,
Then no one,
that's going to be a big reveal. That's going to be a
then no
reveal. Well,
one will watch my top five
I
albums
know.
of
Fair point.
the year. But I'll do a top 25, and
Okay.
I'll also have a top 10 bad albums of the year.
Ooh. Okay.
You, you
Hopefully
don't want
we.
to be on that. You don't want to
Yeah,
be
I
on
was going
that
to
one.
say I don't
Yeah,
want
you
to be
don't
on
want to
that
be on.
one.
And
Before
then,
we move on, I have to include one more that I've listened to a lot this year with my 6-month-old son. It's the Fisher Price album, So Wiggly. I just put that in the chat. It's a
I
classic. It's a banger.
hey,
I listen to that
when
every day.
my
Like,
yeah, when my kids were very babies, I used to rock that Rockabye Baby on Spotify, and it had like a lot of like classic rock, and it was pretty cool. So it was like I'm listening to something that I enjoy, even if it's like a lullaby. So every parent can relate to that. So guys, it's been great chatting with you tonight. I enjoyed the EP. It's great music, and I like talking to like newer bands, especially underground bands. It's can they buy it physically, like digitally on Bandcamp if they want to support the band? What can they do,
So there's no
people?
physical yet. Right now you can hear us on every streaming platform, all the major places, and we are also on Bandcamp and Ampwall, which is a newer platform that's, kind of being served up as an alternative to Bandcamp. Um, so yeah, Negative Bliss, pretty easy to find. If you type in "Everything Hurts and I'm Dying," you'll find us or a GIF of Leslie Knope from Parks and Rec. Um,
Yeah, it's funny. So existential it came from Parks and Rec show. So before we go, anything you like to say to I call them my couchers before we go?
well, if you're watching this and you don't subscribe to the channel, you should, because it's great.
Fuck
Um,
yeah.
Hector's a
Subscribe. I
pleasure
like to
to.
get paid too.
That's right. So go through the channel, watch all the old videos too.
yeah, and then also just come say hi on social media. If you go to negativebliss.com, we've got some links to our social media channels, and stop by and say hi.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. And if they watch the old videos, the first ones are kind of rough. But yeah, it happens. Like I had no idea what I was doing. So guys, I want to thank you for taking some time of your night to chat with me. So every Couchers, the EP is out now digitally, and you can follow the band. I'll put there's a link, www.negativebliss.com, and they post everything there, even the reviews. So and the interview. So this lovely interview will be there as well. So
Mhm.
so yeah. So thank you for joining me tonight, and until next time, Couchers. This is Hector, the shield dude on a couch, and I'll see you all right here on the couch. Thank you and goodbye.